Three, two, one. Welcome to another episode of the Brewery Weird podcast. How's everyone doing? I am your main host, Alex. You can call me Brewery. I hope that every one of you listening is doing well. If you are not, then I hope that this episode makes your day and it's enough to get through the day. This podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. It is available on other listening platforms. This podcast is available on YouTube and Instagram. Follow this podcast on the following social media platforms. If you have not subscribed to this podcast for more episodes, then please press the subscribe button right now. You do not want to miss this because there is more coming. I hope that you are here for some fresh new episodes. And this story has been hitting international news. Gabby Petito was a social media influencer who was living in her van. The feds are still getting involved to find Brian Laundrie. There have been updates about his whereabouts. This case should be solved right now. I hope that the feds find him and arrest him and his parents so the key gets thrown away. I feel horrible for what Gabby's family is going through. I know that there are people who enabled Brian, and it's the parents. Hopefully, the parents end up sentenced to prison. Brian Laundrie is the suspect. His parents are enablers. It's no secret that they are suspects, so it sounds true. Possibly. Gabby and Brian were on vacation traveling to different states in their van, and he returned home without Gabby. That is why everyone believed that he is the suspect of Gabby's death. It was confirmed that Gabby's murder was a homicide. At the end of the day, Gabby Petito did not deserve what happened to her, and she deserves justice. Justice. I'm sure that Gabby's family is still hurting. I have to send them prayers because I know that they are still hurting by what happened to her. It's not easy when you lose someone that is part of your family. That includes your relatives as well. We know about this because the mainstream media reports it and gives us news. They have to give us updates about this case. We are constantly hearing updates about the case. It involves the bounty hunter, the one who is being very committed enough to find Brian Laundrie. The feds are still in this case as well. There have been other bounty hunters committed enough to solve this case. As soon as we hear about missing people, I'm talking about the regular people, not celebrities, not influencers. I feel that it does not get enough attention because they don't have the famous status. That's what I find very insulting. They are not known to have a celebrity career. That bothers me. I feel that the media cares about solving the case for Gabby Petito only because she's a YouTuber. She was an influencer. She had hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Her fan base was very big. Everybody knows what her vlogs were about. That is how big her fan base was. We can't leave regular people out of this equation because people are going to be concerned. People are going to question people's whereabouts. We hear millions of people missing every year. We've seen it on billboards, we've seen it through local news outlets, on the internet, and other resources. That includes children, preteens, and teenagers. Oh, yeah, babies too. The thing is that it's not taken seriously the way it should be. Overall, you want to make sure someone returned home so no one is missing. I'm not saying that the media would stop talking about Gabby because we want the case solved. You want to make sure that someone is right by your side. People need to change their energy on caring because at some point in time, the media does this for the views. You can't always expect them to care about issues that they have no compassion of. I hope that it makes sense. Since we know how the media acts, I feel that we can't expect them to care. They do clickbait stuff, so I don't like that. When the media reports stories like this, I tend to question more. They don't provide a lot of details. Sometimes you have to question if they are missing the details. You just have to put the puzzles together. This is the media's fault because all they are doing is create division. I don't like to create tensions, and that's the last thing that we should worry about. I know that it's insulting because the media is very manipulative at making you hear what they want you to believe. So there are people who have and have not learned from this. It's no secret that the media is very controlling because they like to, I guess, spin the narrative. They are doing nothing to combat the idea about how a number of people are missing every year. As far as Brian's parents, I know that they will be sentenced to prison. Hopefully, I can tell because they lied about his everyday moves so he would not be caught by the feds. They have been defending him after Gabby's death. I'm still shaken behind it. Unfortunately, what they did was very heartless and they are where they deserve to be at. That includes Brian as well. As far as the sister, Brian's sister, I saw the lies coming out of her mouth when she said, I don't know anything. I have not heard anything. Well, actually, she was pretending to be oblivious about the whereabouts. She knew damn well what he was doing. She knows where he is. I would never buy what she's saying, and to see that someone's sibling will not be against their own brother's crimes because the feds are finding him as well as possibly bounty hunters, it says a lot about how family ain't shit. It's one thing if that's your brother, but it's another thing when you are defending things that you should not be defending. I'm sure that the parents have been defending Brian's bad behavior for a long time, especially when Gabby and Brian were first together. That says a lot. I would not be surprised if Brian's sister was in contact with him. If it came down that the sister knew about his whereabouts and has been protecting him, then she will face prison time as well. I hope that it's long. I would not be surprised if the sister was an accomplice because she was pretending to be very oblivious. There's nothing that I believe coming out of her mouth. There's no doubt about it. What's very upsetting is that her family was asking the fiance's family questions. Where is Gabby? They did not provide an answer. I would not be surprised if his parents were allegedly involved in something other than Gabby's murder. There has to be more to the story. I know Gabby's family is taking it seriously. When people protect a criminal, there are dire consequences, and the parents need to suffer from it. This sister needs to rot in prison if she is convicted for defending her brother after Gabby's death. That is my opinion right here. I enjoyed recording this episode for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. It means a lot that you listened, especially the new listeners. If you have suggestions on what I can record for the upcoming episodes, regardless of real life culture, internet culture, pop culture, or social media culture, you can send an email, buryweirdpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to be updated by this podcast, please follow this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. That includes other listening platforms as well. I will be speaking in the next episode. Bye.